Is It Always Like This? A Miraculous Ladybug Fanfiction written and narrated by Eleanor Rose. Artwork provided by Chardonnay on Tumblr. You can find a link to their social media in the description box below. If you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to the channel to stay up to date on the latest parts of your favorite fanfiction, and check out other videos for more. If you would like to adjust the narration speed, you can do so by clicking on the settings icon on the video. Listen, LB, it's the effect of an Akuma victim. I won't remember it once you've done the whole lucky charm thing. Cat Noir could see the hesitation in her eyes. He was right, and she knew it. But he also knew it wouldn't be easy for her to demask herself in front of him, even if he wouldn't know it ever happened 1 to 3 hours from now. He was a cat, after all, and as much as he liked his 4 paws and the ability to perch on his lady's shoulders, he wasn't about to stay this way for life. Okay, Ladybug said, blowing out air. Because we have to. The Akuma of the day had the ability to turn people into domesticated animals, and of course, Cat had the pleasure of being turned into, well, a cat. Ladybug was at her wit's end after hours of struggling, and she needed a break. This victim wasn't deadly and could be left alone for a while. Besides, now that the 7-year-old was surrounded by pets, he was fairly sedated. So, in a back alley where no one would see them, Ladybug de-transformed, taking all of Cat Noir's self-control with him. Marinette. Ladybug was Marinette. He disguised his jaw drop as a yawn, casually stretching like it was no big deal. I thought you were Multi-Mouse, Cat said, flicking his tail. Yeah, to throw you off my scent. Clever girl. He couldn't blame her either. There were a few times he'd had a hint of, maybe Marinette is, until that point. It's a shame he'd forget this. Seeing her overwhelmed all 9 lives with an emotion he couldn't decide and was too large to embrace or wrestle down into a label. So, what's the plan? He asked. Well, first is to try to get you to de-transform. Claws in? Well, that didn't work. I have the worst luck, remember? She laughed, and it sounded better than the chimes from Notre Dame to his ears. Marinette was Ladybug. Ugh, how glad he was to be in love with her now. He had impeccable taste, didn't he? What about powers? Cataclysm, he yawned. Yep. Nothing. Marinette tugged on a pigtail, and Cat noticed Tiki chowing down on a cookie. While it was nice for her to recharge, Marinette was the one who needed the break. He could tell her blood sugar was low just by how she sighed. Come on, Cat meowed. Let's go. Where? She adjusted her balance as he hopped on her shoulder. Sometimes the best place for a tree to hide is in the forest. Meaning? If you approach the kid as Ladybug, you'll start going into a fur frenzy again. What if you were a girl taking her cat on a stroll? She looked at him and smirked. Not a half-bad idea there, Cat. Now, if only I could remember it tonight. Marinette laughed, but he could tell it took a hit on her. Oops. All right, what do you say to getting you a collar? He growled playfully. Thanks, but no thanks. They made their way downtown, the streets getting thicker with animals instead of people. It was kind of incredible, actually. There were Instagrammers who lived for Akuma fights, as it meant new backgrounds and adrenaline highs from capturing the best photos they could from them. Man, we're missing some Skyrim background music here, Cat remarked. You are such a nerd, Marinette laughed. Or geek, whatever. Do you want to be politically correct? I don't much care at the moment. This was so natural. What they had going between them, talking just as they did before she took the mask off, was natural. Would it be like this if she knew he was Adrian? Probably not. This felt different than what he had with Marinette without his mask, and knowing that was gut-wrenching. Perhaps it was a good thing he wouldn't remember this after a lucky charm. He'd have to battle the temptation to tell her every day for the rest of his teenage days, and he was sure to crack before they parted ways. Not that Kat ever planned on parting with her. "Okay, Kitty," Marinette said, eyeing the victim. "What's the plan?" "I seduce him like a bard with a kazoo, and you get a lucky charm amidst the chaos." "All right." They slipped behind a storefront so she could transform and call out a lucky charm. They both stared at the object left in her hand when all was said and done, and Kat couldn't even laugh. "I was joking about the kazoo thing, you know. I mean, this isn't some impromptu game of D&D where I'm Kadari." She sighed and shook her head. "Off you go, Kitty." Cat Noir took the kazoo in his mouth and began to trot off, freezing when he realized these would be the last moments he would be able to feel this undescribable volcano of emotion for Marinette/Ladybug for a long time, if ever. The thought nearly choked him, staggering his gait. But it had to be done. Ladybug was counting on him, and no matter what the cost, he would serve his lady. He sauntered up to the akumatized boy, showing off his best angle before blowing the kazoo. Katzoo, if you will. It was an appropriate name for the distraction of choice. It got his attention, and when the boy reached out a hand, Cat flopped onto his back and bunny-kicked the kazoo like it was a catnip toy. Ladybug was able to get behind the boy and snap the cat collar that held the Akuma. "Lucky?" she began. "Ladybug, wait!" Cat called out, flipping back onto 4 paws. "Don't make it hard," she said, her eyes clouding. "I love you," he said, "and you're the most beautiful girl I've ever met." She sighed and walked over to him, pressing her forehead to his. "Thank you, Cat," she said, "and goodbye." "Has this happened before?" he asked, eyes closed to her warmth. "Yes." "Will it happen again?" She sighed and pulled back, picking him up into her arms. "With our track record? Probably. It's like the universe is writing us into pain." "At least it's kind to forgive it from us." "Well, one of us," she murmured, and it dawned on Cat. Just like the time he was caught in a time loop, Ladybug was the one who had to suffer through each timeline, each Akuma victim with the memories, because she was the one to cleanse, to save everyone else. "Ladybug?" "Yes?" "I love you. Don't you ever forget that." "I know that, Cat. You've proven it more times than you can remember." "Is it always like this?" "Like what?" "Am I always a bit scared?" She squeezed him tighter. "You only let me know of it once, but I'd imagine so." "Twice now?" "Yeah, twice." He inhaled her scent, then sighed. "I don't want to make it harder on you. It's time." "Are you sure?" "Yes." "Lucky charm," she whispered. Cat opened his eyes, surprised to be in Ladybug's embrace. He wasn't complaining, but he'd like to know how he got here so he could do it again. "Hey, LB, didn't know you were up for a catnap together." She didn't reply, and when Kat got to take a closer look, he noticed her lashes brimming with tears. "I've gotta go," she said, running to an alley. Kat looked down at his ring, surprised to see he hadn't used his cataclysm. Just what happened, anyway? Just what happened anyway? Instead of transforming and heading back home, Kat decided to wander the streets for a hot minute to make sure everyone was stable after the attack. He saw Marinette from a distance, hair and pigtails, and noticed her makeup was smudged. He pranced over to her, worried. "What's wrong, Princess? Is there someone I need to beat up?" She didn't answer right away. "Princess, huh?" she said, looking up at him. "Is something wrong?" "Hey, Kat?" "Yeah?" "I think you'd make a great friend." "Oh, thanks?" "Yeah, you're welcome." "You're a great friend too, Marinette." "What makes you say that?" "Just a feeling," he said, flashing her a wink. "Anyway, gotta run." She lifted her hand to wave, but her whole body exuded sadness. Cat Noir couldn't do anything about it wearing the mask. She needed a friend, and he knew exactly where one lived. Bouncing to his bedroom, Cat detransformed. "I'm going to see a friend," Adrian called out, running past Natalie and letting his footsteps drown out her protests. He'd pay for it later, but for now he wanted to comfort his friend. More than anything, Adrian wanted to comfort Marinette for anything and everything she was going through, despite not having a clue what it was for, because she was a good friend for him, and he wanted to do the same. Adrian was going to be a good friend for Marinette. Thank you so much for listening, and once more, thank you to Chardonnay on Tumblr for allowing the use of her art in this video. You can find more Miraculous Ladybug fanfiction on this channel or by clicking these videos. I'll catch you guys next time.